good afternoon everyone. In this class we are going to study about frog. Firstly we will see the external features of frog, and then we will study the digestive system of frog, and then we will see the respiratory system of frog. Remaining systems we will see them in the next class. So the frog belongs to phylum called chordata. So it has all the features that a chordate should have. And the next belongs to class amphibia. So which means it can live both on land and also on, which means it can live on land and also on water. And it is placed under the order Endura, which means the organism which doesn't have tail are placed under this category of order called Endura. Here the tail is absent in this organism. So if you see frog, tail is absent in the adult frog. A tail is present in the larval stage of the frog. And then it is placed in the genus called Rana and species tigrina. Tigrina means it has some scales on their body which looks like a tiger. Tiger like scales. So tiger like scales are present on the frog body. That's the reason why we got the name tigrina. So this is a frog, and we'll see. So the body is divided into head and trunk. Tail is absent in adult frog. Adult frog and young frog, which is larval stage, it is present. So the body is divided into head and trunk. Tail is absent. Head has mouth, eyes, snout, tympanum and external nostrils. So mouth is like a wider in range so that it can easily catch the prey. And the eyes are bulged eyes which has a nictitating membrane. Nictitating membrane. So nictitating membrane is present in the eyes of frog. So which helps them in protection when they are under the water. And it has a snout here. Bulged eyes and we have a pair of nostrils. So nostrils are present here, and we have mouth here. So this is about head. And next we have also have a tympanum here, so which is helpful in getting the vibrations. And then comes to trunk. So the next part, so this part belongs to head. The remaining rest of the part is trunk. So here trunk is divided into two forelimbs and two hind limbs. So the two forelimbs have 4 digits. So the trunk is divided into two forelimbs and two hind limbs. So forelimbs have 4 digits. 4 digits are present in the forelimb, and coming to hind limb, there are 5 digits are present in the forelimb. Hind limb. So the body is divided into head and the trunk. The head has mouth, eyes, snout, and tympanum, external nostrils. So the eyes have a membrane called nictitating membrane, which is helpful for them while they were in the water. And coming to the trunk is divided into two forelimbs and two hind limbs. So the two forelimbs which are present in the starting part of the region have 4 digits in them. And the two hind limbs which are present in the back side, they have 5 digits in them, 5 fingers. So the position. So these are hind limbs. And this is the position of a frog is like a squatting position. So there is an exercise called squatting exercise. So it sits in that way. So if you see this position is known as squatting position. So this is helpful for them in jumping from one place to another places. Like it can jump a long distances with the help of this. And it is a sexually dimorphic animal, which means the males and females can be differentiated. So males have vocal sacs and copulatory glands. But the females, both of them are absent. So this is how we can sexually differentiate between the male frog and the female frog. And these are poikilothermic in nature, which means cold-blooded animals. Cold-blooded animals. Which means they cannot control their body temperature. So if you take a frog from Rajasthan to a Himalayan region, then it will become cold. From Himalayan region to again Thar desert, it will become hot. So it cannot regulate their body temperature. So organisms which cannot regulate their body temperatures are known as cold-blooded animals. So they can change their body temperatures depending on the external environment. So these are poikilothermic. So when it comes to humans, we are homeotherms. So we maintain a constant temperature even if we go to Himalayas or even if we come to Thar desert. So these are poikilothermic animals. So frog belongs to phylum Chordata as they have the main features of chordates. And it belongs to class Amphibia because it lives both on land and also on water. And it belongs to order Enura because the organisms which doesn't have tail belongs to the order called Enura. So here the adult frog doesn't have any tail. So the larval form of the frog have the tail, but the adult form of the frog doesn't have any tail. And coming to genus, it belongs to genus called Rana and species tigrina. So we call it as tigrina because they have a scale-like structures on their body which looks not exactly, but which looks similar to the tiger structure. And then we have body. So the body is mainly divided into head and trunk. So head has mouth, eyes, snout and tympanum and external nostrils. So their eyes are so much bulged so that they can see in a 360-degree view. And they have a nictitating membrane which helps them in seeing animals or some objects under the water. And it helps them in protection from the water. And then we have trunk. The trunk is divided into two forelimbs and two hind limbs. So forelimbs are they are like hands broken, and two hind limbs are like legs broken. So the two forelimbs have 4 digits in them, and the two hind limbs have 5 digits in them. So the position of frog is like a squatting position. So it helps them jumping from one place to another place. Like they can jump from one place to another place, like a very longer distances. And these are sexually dimorphic in nature. So we can differentiate between male and female. So males have vocal sacs and copulatory glands, and the females don't have the vocal sacs and copulatory glands. So in this way we can differentiate male and female frog. And then these organisms are poikilothermic in nature, which means these are cold-blooded organisms. So they cannot maintain their own body temperature. We humans can maintain our body temperature, so we are called as warm-blooded animals. But these are cold-blooded animals. So if we take them to Thar desert or hot places, their body will become hot. And if we take them to Antarctic region, their body will become cool. So they cannot maintain their body temperature. So these are poikilothermic in nature. So now let's see the digestive system of it. See the digestive system of frog. So the digestive system starts with the mouth. So the digestive system starts with mouth. So usually these frogs are carnivorous in nature. So they don't need a long alimentary canal like herbivores. So herbivores needs a long alimentary canal because they eat cellulose. So it takes time to digest. So they need long alimentary canal. But here they doesn't need a long alimentary canal. So the alimentary canal in frog is very short because it is a carnivorous in nature. And then it starts with mouth. And the mouth is wide, semi-oval in shape, and with upper and lower jaws are present. And then the food goes into mucopharyngeal cavity, where teeth and tongue attached in the front and they are free behind. So teeth and tongue are attached in the front and they are free behind. So that's the reason why they can easily catch the prey. Like they can easily throw their tongue outside and they can easily catch the prey. And then the food goes into esophagus, which is very short in nature. And then the food goes into stomach, where some of the food will get digested or some of the food will get stored here. And here it is a broad and thick with anterior and posterior sphincters. And here we can see cardiac and pyloric sphincters also, so which helps them in movement of food from esophagus and into the small intestine. So now the food has entered into the small intestine. So here we have in posterior end we have duodenum, in distal end we have ileum. In posterior end we have duodenum and in distal end we have ileum. And then the food enters into the large intestine, rectum. And then it passes into the cloaca, which is a common reproductive aperture. Like it is a common passage for both digestion and reproduction. And then it enters into the cloacal aperture and the food comes outside after the digestion. So the digestive system of frog, here the alimentary canal is very short because they are carnivorous in nature. So if we take herbivores, they need a very long alimentary canal because they need to digest the cellulose. Cellulose takes time to digest, but here they don't eat plants or cellulose parts. Here they eat meat. So that's the reason why their alimentary canal is very short. And the food enters into the mouth, which is wide and semi-oval shaped with upper and lower jaw is present. And then it enters into mucopharyngeal cavity, where the teeth and tongue are attached in the front and free left behind, free in the behind. So this is the reason why it can easily catch the prey. And now the food has entered into the esophagus, so which is a very short. And then it entered into stomach, which might do storage or also which might do the digestion. So food can be stored here or it can also be digested. And then the stomach has a broad and thick with anterior and posterior end with cardiac and pyloric sphincters. So it helps them in passage of food from esophagus into the small intestine. The small intestine, proximal part of the small intestine has duodenum and the distal part has ileum. And the food from the small intestine has entered into the rectum, large intestine. And then it entered into the common passage for both digestion and reproduction called cloaca. And then it enters outside with the help of cloacal apertures. So this is about the flow of digestion. And here we have few glands here. Stomach, which has gastric glands, and liver secretes bile, which is stored in the gallbladder. And pancreas releases pancreatic juices, and intestinal gland releases intestinal juices. Now let's see about respiration of frog. Now let's discuss about respiration in frog. Respiration in frog. The respiration happens in three different types. One is cutaneous respiration, and mucopharyngeal respiration, and pulmonary respiration. So here in pulmonary respiration, it happens through lungs. So here in mucopharyngeal respiration, it happens through mucopharyngeal cavity. And in cutaneous respiration, it happens through skin. So here skin acts as a respiration or respiratory organ. So what happens here is the skin in frog is very thin, moist and highly vascular in nature. So the frog skin is very thin and moist and very vascular in nature. So the skin of frog is permeable to both oxygen and CO2. The oxygen and CO2 can enter into the skin of the frog because it is very thin and it is permeable layer for both oxygen and carbon dioxide. So they have a mucus film on the surface of the body. So this captures the oxygen and releases the CO2 from the body. So when oxygen touches the skin of the mucus film of the surface, it enters into the body and diffuses with the blood capillaries which are present below the mucus film. And exchange of gases takes place between the blood capillaries and mucus film. So the CO2 from blood capillaries will come outside into the mucus film, and from mucus film O2 will enter into the blood capillaries. So in cutaneous respiration, skin is the main respiratory organ. So here the skin is very thin, moist and vascular in nature. So here it is permeable to O2 and CO2. So O2 can enter and CO2 can exit easily because it is permeable to them. And they have a mucus film on their surface, so which allows them, when oxygen comes into it, it binds with the oxygen and it sends it to the blood capillaries which are present below the layer. And from blood capillaries, CO2 comes out and it goes out. So this is what happens in cutaneous respiration. So this cutaneous respiration, like, it won't happen regularly. It happens when it is in water or during winter and summer. Winter we have hibernation, and in summer estivation. So frog goes into an inactive stage in winter called hibernation, and in summer it goes into a inactive state in summer called estivation. So only during this time, during hibernation or estivation or in water, cutaneous respiration occurs, which means the respiration occurs through skin. And now what happens in bucopharyngeal cavity is, now the frog mouth has opened. The frog mouth is closed and the nostrils are open. That's it. And the floor of the mouth moves up and down. The air from the outside enters into the nostrils and it comes into the bucopharyngeal cavity. In this bucopharyngeal cavity, they have some blood capillaries in them. So there, the exchange of gases happen between them. So this is what happens here. Here, mucus film is helping in the exchange of gases between the blood capillaries and the skin. Here, bucopharyngeal cavity has blood capillaries. So the exchange of gases like CO2 comes in and CO2 goes out. Happens in the bucopharyngeal cavity. And same happens with lungs. So now the air has entered into the mouth and then it came into the bucopharyngeal cavity and then it entered into the lungs, and there the exchange of gases happen. So this is about respiration. First, cutaneous respiration, which happens in the skin. So there is one more thing. For frog, the skin must be always moist. So if the skin of the frog becomes dry, it will die. Because sometimes it lives in water and sometimes it lives in land, and sometimes, most of the time, so in order to get rid of some animals, or sometimes in order to get rid of severe climatic conditions, they go into a inactive state called hibernation and estivation, and sometimes it lives in water. During this phase, the frog respires through skin called cutaneous respiration, and here cutaneous respiration is very, very important for frog. That's why skin should be always moist, and when it is on land, the respiration happens through bucopharyngeal respiration or also by pulmonary respiration, which means by pulmonary respiration happens through lungs and bucopharyngeal respiration happens through bucopharyngeal cavity. And here the respiration happens through mucous film, which is present on the outer surface of the skin. So this is about respiration. In the next class we will see the different kinds of systems which are present in the frog. Thank you.